Thank you so much for the introduction, Mrs. Smith. Hello and good evening, everyone. To President Fulco, Principal Spillman, the Board of Trustees, the LaSallian brothers, faculty and staff, to the graduates of the class of 2021, their families and invited guests, and to all who are tuning in online, I'd like to say I'm truly thankful for the honor and the privilege of speaking to you all here tonight at a place so meaningful to me. To the gentlemen who today become my peers as SJCI alumni, I say, congratulations, you've earned it. To the valedictorian and salutatorian, I applaud you for the incredible achievements. But to the other graduates, I say, don't worry, just wait 6 years and you'll be invited to give a speech here too at commencement. I'll admit to you, gentlemen, it feels a bit strange to be back here as your speaker. Not because I feel that so much time has passed since my own graduation, but because just how close this moment, your moment, feels to me, even now. Thinking of my first day at St. Joe's transports me to a different self, a self that exists more in memory than reality. Not just younger, but unmolded. Not just smaller, but in many ways more limited. Optimistic, yes, but the kind that comes from living a good life, not a tested one. Kind, certainly, but flowing from a fear of loneliness more than a love of neighbor. In short, I came to St. Joe's wanting to learn facts without wondering what was worth learning, wanting to do good without questioning what was worth doing. But it was at St. Joe's, too, where I felt like it all began. That slow, innocent, conscious and unconscious crawl towards a better self. A struggle at times successful and a struggle at times disappointing. Our first days at SJCI come to all of us at a similar moment, a constellation of growing maturity and physical development, conspiring with a mix of greater opportunities and heavier responsibilities. We went from playing music to becoming musicians. We went from playing sports to becoming athletes. We became artists and scholars, servants and leaders, friends and brothers. St. Joe's was where we could begin to act with intention in the world and not just react to it. It's where we became true participators in our own lives and not just bystanders, looking squarely at where we are today and idealizing where we could be. A brotherhood was formed at St. Joe's, uniting all of our unique paths with a common horizon. Disinterested in pursuing one narrow path to greatness, we committed ourselves to the work of being the greatest each of us could be in our own way, someday. Even now, I'm here with you on that journey. Even now, I carry that hope for myself. And someday is coming, yes, but I'll be frank. Some days I have doubts about myself. Someday I'll get to where I want to be, but in my weaker moments, I confess I worry. Perhaps not now, perhaps not yet. Being a first-year medical student at the University of Pennsylvania is not unlike being a student here at St. Joe's, surrounded by talent and work ethic, privileges and responsibilities, hopes and dreams. Like you, I felt like I've learned and forgotten more information and skills than I've ever known. No doubt a trend that'll continue for all of us. And also like you, I look forward to the better days that will come. But how will they come? At times, the expectations I face have felt far above my abilities. There's always some other thing I should have known, another I should have done. If our better selves are to come, they won't come idly, not easily. And yet, what is easy, common even, is to lose track of yourself when you're climbing the ladder, to lose sight of what you're working for. And medicine, honestly, isn't any different, dancing between visions more often in opposition than in union. Is our goal biomedical success, or the patient's definition of health and satisfaction? Is it for hospital reimbursement, or is it for a patient's physical and emotional well-being? Is it for our medical careers, treating complex diseases as stepping stones to research grants and professorships, or is it for something more, some higher-minded recognition that for many people, it's just chance that separates doctors from patients, the healthy from the sick, the knowledgeable from the ignorant? In each case, I hope for the kinder, the wiser, and the better version of myself to prevail, but there is a seductive power in recognizing patterns or making predictions, one that can sometimes deceive us from our ubiquitous, irreducible, and human fragility, a fragility that can at times feel frustrating and atomizing, and a fundamental, irrefutable truth that no textbook can tell us what steps we'll take, what decisions we'll make, or how our story will unfold. So how do I think we'll get to where we want to be, to succeed in our lifelong journey, to shape and become our greatest selves? Take a tip I learned from watching my mom. Don't focus on greatness, focus on goodness. Make no mistake, moments of greatness were not too much for my mother, they were too little. She couldn't hope for them to help her in her complex and unpredictable thrall of life. They could neither be called upon nor expected on demand. When they came, they could only rarely be sustained. For an African immigrant mother of 3 children doing 3 degrees while caring for a sick mother, momentary greatness was good, but it wasn't good enough. Instead, my mom turned to practice, process, and habits, which for her started every morning at 7 a.m. Seated upright and attentive, knees together, eyes closed and heart open, fears banished, hope welcome. Even the process herself was very aspirational. Prayer for my mother was no rote ritual. It was ad-libbed, artistic, self-expressive. Her frayed and tear-stained devotional in hand, I'd see her brows furrow as she rocked, heavy with the weight of a new world, often unrecognizable to her older one. She prayed about family. She prayed about loneliness. She prayed about peace. She spoke about sick kids and bad grades, doctor's appointments and parent-teacher conferences, newborns and deceased friends, moments of strength and moments of weakness. Most of all, she spoke of things she wanted to become: a good teacher, a good friend, and most importantly to her, a good mother. When I was a kid, I always felt something indescribable when I heard those desires. Like everyone, my mother wasn't born great, but she wanted to be. And somewhere along the journey, she got there, so slowly and so imperceptibly that she never realized when it had actually happened. My mother's greatness is in her goodness, and it's the same for everyone. Good process is what makes us. But this isn't anything new to you guys. And I know that because it's entirely how St. Joe's operates. Every week, we had our new assignments and projects, practices and plays, rehearsals and auditions. Reminding us to achieve big goals, we had to break them up into milestones. Every day we had our same classes and practices, sports and clubs, demonstrating that the time we invest is not idle, but cumulative, snowballing into knowledge and competencies that sink deeper than the skin and stay from one year to the next. Even every period started with what would be our first and our final ritual, taking a moment to empty our minds of the world's pressures and life's deadlines to center on something more important: a relationship with God, complemented by a common request for intercession to our school's namesake, to pray for us. Every teacher and parent, every coach and staff member, every person in this field knows that simple truth. When you pick your habits, you pick your future. Gentlemen, I didn't come here to say anything new. I don't have a trick to get a 4.0 in college. I don't have a cryptocurrency buy to get rich, even though I kind of wish I did. I came to remind us of one truth that we already know. Moments of greatness may inspire us, but ultimately it's our repeated attempts at goodness that will transform us. Our habits can allow us to access fuller versions of ourselves or make them feel even harder to reach. I don't have an answer to what are the best habits. It'll likely take my whole life for a meaningful stab at a modest few. But the recognition that repetition has the potential to transform us should encourage us to ask different questions about what the flourishing life looks like. The more important questions. The answer to the question, how do we get to where we want to be, has many answers, pages of answers. So many we have no control over, often subject to systems established in distant rooms with strangers we don't know and never will. Those effects are real and irreducible, but in our own lives, with the agency we have in our own 2 hands, today and in the future, we can ask a different, at times harder, but in all ways more intimate, more compelling, and therefore more powerful question: what are my habits, and where are they taking me? Thank you, and God bless you.